Hello everyone and welcome to BeamNG. Welcome to this video where I'm going to be testing out a brand new mod that just came out today, the Gavril Barstow. Now obviously most of you will probably be able to tell this is the early 2000s era Mustang. It is either the New Edge or SN95 is what the body code was. The SN95 was the 1995 version until 2002 when we got the New Edge. Now you could tell from the headlights and kind of the general look of this mod that this is in fact the New Edge version of the Mustang. The New Edge Mustang is near and dear to my heart because I actually had one for quite a few years and I only recently sold it to get myself a new car. But mine was very similar to this. It was not the V8 version, but it did have the same sort of replica rims and decals that you see here. Before we explore the mod, how it works, how it looks, the configurations and everything, I do just want to say that because of my experience with my Mustang, I can probably and hopefully lend a decent appraisal of this to the actual car. Now of course that's not what the intention of this mod is. The intention of this mod is to follow the BeamNG lore, and it did that spectacularly with how well it integrates with the rest of the cars. In fact, look over there, we had one spawn in traffic and it fits right alongside the cars we have in the game. So what are the configurations? Well, if you make your way here to the Gavril Barstow, you'll see we have quite a few configurations starting from the Bandit, which is sort of a beater, all the way to the police package. We got a drift version, V8 Road Sport, all the way to a race version with a drag race. So the ones kind of here at the top are what you'd call your base models or basic ones that you'd buy and see on the street. Coming down here we get something a little more special. So like I said, mine was the V6 convertible, so it was something like this. Now I could tell that these rims were actually inspired by the SN95 version, so even though it is the new style from 2002, it does have the old style rims from the 1995 version. Out of all of these vehicles, my favorite is the V8 Sport manual, of course. So if I go ahead and replace it here in the game, it actually lets me even open up the roof. And if we pop into the driver's seat, you could see a very Mustang inspired type of interior from the dashboard here, the instrument panel, all the way down to the seats. It's very impressive how close, but also how slightly different and like smartly different it is. Obviously it's not that they just took the Mustang and made a one-to-one copy. There's actually some styling that went into that. Now if we take it out for a spin, you'll hear a beautiful engine note. And not only that, like I said, it fits right in. It has quite a few nice variants and versions. But man, does it look good. Handles well too. Let's see, brake test. So of course we got our ABS kicking on. Oh, let's take a dirt road, see how that goes. I am in a mod called Texas, and I thought that this would quite nicely work for this Mustang. Although I'm in Canada, and that's partially the reason why I sold it, because I could only use it half the year. The winters were just stored in the garage. But as far as the model's concerned, and now we're taking it way too far for this type of road condition. Now, what is a good mod without a good police car? And this is sort of the perfect car here for this Texas map. Kind of like a highway patrol, where you could really open up the cylinders and let it rip. So the interior of this police version also did get our police refinements. It looks a little more bland and basic, as police vehicles usually do. And on the exterior we have these nice sort of steely rims, obviously the front bull guard or brush guard, and these lights. But the thing's got enough power to kick around. Like, that's really nice. Now I do have to try out the race version, just because it looks so cool. Now with this huge spoiler, the downforce that we should be having, I expect that it can go quite fast. Now definitely do not try this on an actual highway. This is a video game, but I absolutely do not condone this type of behavior. Fantastic. Again, great model. And just handles really nicely. It's quite satisfying to drive. One other neat thing is the new old-fashioned 30s car brought us an update with the taillights where they kind of turn on slowly like bulbs. And while the developers said that they're working on updating their cars to have the same type of effect, we already have that effect here. So the modder actually used that and gave us kind of a very detailed taillight. And I think it'll be fun to try to replicate my car in this game. So here is the V6 version, but what you'll note here, other than my car, which you could see in the photo here, mine did have a little spoiler, mine did have a double exhaust, and it had the replica rims. So I think other than using, or to not use the V6 version as a starting point, I'd probably rather want to use the V8 Sport convertible automatic with the same color gunmetal gray. That's the color mine was. And if I get it in here, you can see right away this is very similar to what mine looked like, even with the little spoiler addition there. And now if we go to the mods, or vehicle rather, vehicle config of course, we can start to see the various parts. Now here is the 4.2 liter V8, but if I put the 3.4, it still works with the exhaust and with this sort of styling, so that's quite nice. My interior was black, so I will make it have the black interior, just like that. What's really cool is this sporty one kind of has that almost Celine type look, or Shelby. So you have here kind of this plastic trim panel, but I will remove that and not have it empty, but just have it painted. So it's just sort of your standard basic one. Of course, not the V8 lettering. Let's just put Barstow. Yeah, that'll work. What's really cool is there are quite a few spoilers. So we have the track sports spoiler, of course. The sports spoiler is what we had at the beginning, and there is one that has the ducktail, which actually comes with the light kind of built into it. Again, very reminiscent of like Celine or Shelby, those kind of higher end versions, but my spoiler was pretty much just like that. My rear bumper did have the words Mustang on it, so I see here this one doesn't have anything, so it's a little plain looking, whereas the Road Sport one does start looking quite similar. I love it. Now again, we have also kind of a replica Cobra front bumper, which looks amazing. It has kind of the wide intakes there. I would say that's a very close replica. So we can take it out for a spin. In real life, I do have to say, it was kind of underpowered. I think it was a 3.8 liter. And, I mean, in the game, it's a fairly, I'd say, accurate representation. It does kind of want to slide around a little bit, but all things told, it's not a very fast vehicle or very powerful, but it is a lot of fun, and you can't ignore that it just looks great. So, loving this mod, and I think now kind of the thing to talk about is it's a paid mod. So what does that mean? That means you actually have to spend extra money to get this. It's not free. The developer wants to make sure that, you know, cover their expenses and get something little. Now, I don't think they're going to be making millions of dollars on this type of thing. So it's really just to get something in return, I suppose. I actually did forget mine had the black lettering stripes on the side, so that's definitely more like it. I love it. Looks very nice now. This one's definitely a Cobra version. You could see the red seats, you could see even has the Cobra style front bumper, and it was quite high on that list, so I'm going to imagine it's going to be very fast here for us, even to the point of becoming a little uncontrollable. If I give it gas, it'll start to slip around. So that is the Cobra version, or I think I have to take a look what it's actually called here. Down here they have the Road Sport, which to me looks pretty much like a Cobra Mustang. So you can see here with the red seats, the front bumper, the stripes, this is fairly reminiscent of that Cobra. And of course, like the Cobra, this thing's fast. I mean, it wants to spin around even in third gear. It's kind of pushing me left and right. Anyway, what do we think about paid mods? Well, it's fair that the mod creator requests some money for their efforts. That said, there are plenty of good mods that don't require paying. So if you keep that consideration, then you can pretty much end up with lots of mods where you haven't spent a dollar. But there are some of us who want to support certain creations and certain modders, and I mean, from building Stormworks creations, I can't imagine the amount of time it takes to put something like this together, where you're not using an in-game interface, but you're actually using like coding and modelers and all kinds of stuff. So for me personally, I don't see a problem spending a few dollars to support someone who has given us a product like this that I can enjoy and use and pretty much own now in any updates that are released. But that said, it's entirely up to you. I do think that this mod is worth it in terms of the car. Now, I am a fan of Mustangs and a fan of this car itself, but for those of you that are just kind of looking for an extra car in your inventory here in BeamNG, then really it's up to you to determine whether or not you think that having a paid model will gain you anything. But again, my blessing is there. I think that it's worth getting if you are a muscle car fan, a Mustang fan, or just want some other mod here in the game that you could use. Now, what is neat is that currently in BeamNG, there's not really something that similar. Now, keep in mind, I do have a decent amount of mods here already, but there's not really like that early 2000s muscle car. We have some very old school muscle cars. We have kind of this, the Wendover, which is more like a 80s, early 90s style muscle car. We got BMWs and things, but not something like this. So it is quite niche and quite unique in being something that we don't really have. Now, what would a video be without a crash test? So what I'm going to do is let's fly into this car and see what sort of damage we get at 8 times. I mean, obviously beautiful crumple zones, very reminiscent of a real-life car of this era, so that's quite neat. I mean, the damage modeling here, I would say, is spot on. I really don't see anything here that's, you know, concerning in terms of something that's been created by not the developers. So for what we get, and for the amount of models, and for the various types of cars, the trims, the actual modeling itself, and what it gets us, I think this is a very nice vehicle. So certainly I'm a fan. I think that this is a mod that looks great, functions great, has definitely like a vanilla interface in the game when you take a look at the other creations and kind of how well it fits. And just being a muscle car from this era, super fun to drive. Just on the cusp of spinning out, but also quite controllable, so you're not stuck battling something that's impossible to drive. You actually could learn and kind of make it quite fun for yourself if you are into kind of drifting or pushing the car to the limits. So, thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this mod and other paid mods in general, because there are some paid mods that are fantastic, but when you think about it, do we really want to be spending $5 here, $5 there? That said, if we are happy with what the base game has to offer, then, you know, there are free mods that one can use. So it's definitely something that's, I think, dependent on the person. Not everyone would share the same view, and you may end up wanting to just use free mods. But as far as mods in general go, this is definitely a beautiful one. And this isn't a paid advertisement. I paid myself. I did not get this for free, so keep that in mind as you sort of watch this video. I'm not by any means sponsored here. One last one here, we got the supercharged police car. So this one is quite difficult to handle, but rewarding if you can get it kind of purring and flying through the streets. So, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Stay tuned for more creations in Stormworks, other BeamNG videos too. Let me know what kind of things you like, because I do have a couple of paid mods and free mods that I would like to kind of showcase and show you guys. So let me know your interest in that, or if it lies with kind of BeamNG challenges and escaping the flood and that type of thing. Otherwise, I will be back with my regular Stormworks content and creation. So, thank you for watching, and see you next time.